detective, thrill me.
Welcome back to the Thrill Me podcast. Gibbo, Matty, how are we?
Great, mate. Thanks.
Yeah, good.
Swords and sorcery this week. Excited? And more Schwarzenegger, which, I mean, it's always a good thing for us.
The 3 S's.
Yes, exactly.
Early Schwarzenegger is the best Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, damn right. As usual, we'll kick things off with a bit of what we've been watching. So, Matty, being the guest again.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a light-on week for me.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of The Affair on Stan. That's got McNulty in it from The Wire, which is all right. They're idiots. It's a bit of a soap opera, but obviously got to keep the wife happy, so watch that one.
I was going to say that's clearly a partner one.
It Follows, or
Yeah, nah,
a little bit.
Nah, they're just as dumb. Just as dumb. I got into. I watched a bit more of Black Lightning, which I enjoyed. Watched the first 2 episodes of that. I watched the second half of the first one, and good fun. I like it. I really like it. You can see how angry they get and how it's going to lead to more powers, and you can see where they're going to take it to a good direction. They've already got rid of the low punk, and you can see that the villain has actually got a little bit of depth behind him, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
But beyond that, what else have I seen? Not a lot.
Not much.
It's a bit sad. Bit of Chappelle. I watched a bit of Chappelle, and I started 7 again, which is good, but again, I couldn't get the wife to finish it off, so I just ditched it.
I haven't watched that in ages. Should do it on here, actually.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
we've got to get to that at some point.
Gibbo?
Very light for me as well, mate. Very busy with some other things around the place. I've been watching The Good Place. Again, as Matty said, you're doing The Affair, I'm doing The Good Place.
Yeah, nice.
It's actually not bad, though. Ted Danson's really good in it.
Well, our mate Bradley, who's contacted us a few times, he got in touch with us and he actually gave me the credit, which I was going to take it for a bit, but he said thanks for the tip because he's watched it and loving it.
It's pretty good.
So,
It's got to be good.
It's just very different. Yeah, but the comedy in it's pretty like... It's original because of what they're doing. They can go with a lot of different places with it. But yeah, it's pretty decent. It's getting pretty formulaic. Like they're obviously just sort of playing the same gags, but it's not too bad. If I've got to watch something I could do worse. Been watching Black Sails again, which is the poorest poor man's fucking pirate Game of Thrones basically.
yeah.
It's fine.
So would you?
Plugging along.
Where would you say to put it on my watch list? Like,
it's worth a look, because there's a bit there now. I think this is season 3 now.
Yep.
So there's a bit there, and they're our episodes. But I mean, it's instead of tits and dragons, it's tits and pirate ships. So it just depends if you're up for it.
Well, I'm interested in one of those things. So.
There's a lot of pirate ships.
I love ships too.
There's but the story's pretty deep, and a lot of it's based on actual historical characters, like Blackbeard's in there, and a lot of the pirates are actually real ones.
What's the beard game like?
Oh, there's some quality beards in there.
I'll have to watch it.
That's the important stuff.
Yeah, of course.
I'd be watching it saying, like, that beard looks shit house. A real pirate would have had a dirty big beard.
But you just dead set watch it for the sets, though, because they've shot a lot of it in Nassau, where, like in the Bahamas, it's just unbelievable to look at. The sets, it looks like something out of, like, a video game. Like, it's just really nice colours and stuff. It's a good-looking show, anyway. We were talking a little bit earlier on about... the Patrick Swayze masterpiece that's just hit Netflix.
Yep.
Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Gave it a late night shake. Very still great. Throat rips are plenty. Fucking Sam Elliott thing all over the place.
Yep.
It's top shelf, mate. I just
Who else was it? Terry Funk, wasn't it? Terry Funk, the wrestler.
Yeah.
Terry Funk was in there.
He's in there.
Yep.
And probably the least, like the chick when he meets her. She's a doctor at the hospital, and she's got her hair in like a French braid, and she's got the glasses on. She looks all bookish and cute and whatever. And then she goes out on the date and makes it look like she does her hair like it's supposed to be big wings off the side of her head. And I was like, "Fuck, I hate the 80s." Like, the French braid looked lovely, and then she just goes and that's like, "Hey, look what I can do with my ears. My hair's really framing them."
Oh man,
Kelly Lynch, man, yeah.
Not happy.
Not there, no. I remember it being really hot when I was little. It's not there. So much fake
Standards have changed.
Of all things that didn't hold up.
Yeah, Kelly Lynch. But Swayze definitely holds up. So many roundhouse kicks. It's glorious. It's what Chuck Norris should have done, really, with his life.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then also, same as Matty, I've been a couple of Black Lightnings in there. Up to speed with that one. The week by week thing's bugging the shit out of me.
Yeah,
we're just spoiled these days. I get that, but
it's hard to get used to again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's it for me, though.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, that's a pretty good segue because I also watched Black Lightning. I was really enjoying it. I think the first 2 episodes I really liked because he wasn't Black Lightning. Like the whole, both episodes, he was in the suit for about 5 minutes, and they were going into, you know, their sort of. It's a bit of a light touch on the social issues, but at least it's there, and it's kind of, you know, the story's pretty engaging.
Light touches kind. I'd say it's pretty heavy-handed.
Well, yeah, I guess what I mean is it's not digging too deep into it, but it's framing the show around some of these things, which is cool. It's not as far removed as stuff like The Flash and Arrow. But episode 3, I saw a little bit of Arrow and like creeping into it, like the daughter discovering, you know, what's going on with her. And I'm thinking, okay, so we're thinking of a team here, and then all of a sudden, James Remar's the character who's unbelievably good with computers for no reason.
Because he owns a suit store, yeah.
Yeah, and has like the the setup in the basement with the holograms and stuff like that. And I was
Clearly
just like,
funded by something.
Yeah, exactly. Elon Musk's coming in buying suits or something. I don't know. Like it's just but so I was a little bit worried about that, but overall I'm still enjoying it. I think I mean that's the only one I'm watching at the moment. I put the other ones on the back burner just to catch up when the season's finished.
Batman Alfred sort of
But where's
relationship.
he getting his funding from? It's just
he's got a suit shop that I've never seen a customer in. Like
exactly because he keeps shutting the door so he can talk to his mate. All the customers try to come in and they can't.
I'm enjoying it, and I like the bad guy element a little bit better. It reminds me more of Marvel, just like some criminal sort of organisation, and they're a bit, you know, they're bringing the guns and the drugs and that sort of stuff into it. Again, light touch, and it's not too violent. It's still in that, you know, CW lane where. But yeah, I quite like it so far.
I like the villain's got his own set of morals that might not necessarily line up with what is actually moral.
Yeah. And he's really
got his own
good
motivation
because he's not even an actor. He was a rapper with Exhibit's crew, wasn't he? So I believe he was cast just because he fit the look of Tobias Whale and had, you know, had the demeanour.
It's pretty intimidating. So
that first episode when you see him, he's like, whoa, this dude's, he commands the screen pretty well.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of the best things about it.
Am I the only one that's just amazed that James Remar keeps getting a gig, though, in anything? He cannot act a fucking
He's pretty
lick.
awful, isn't he? Yeah.
He is terrible.
I remember, you know, watching him in The Warriors when it was one of his early roles, and I'm like, he's a bit rough in this too. Of course he was getting by his looks at that point.
Everything he does is the same. I mean, he's obviously got like a different sort of voice or whatever, but he cannot act.
Yeah, I got a bit of Dexter's dad in this, like the delivery.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm enjoying it overall. I got to the cinemas a couple of times actually. I saw I, Tonya, which was all right. Like the movie was pretty entertaining, but I'm not down with this whole thing of like championing her for some reason.
I saw the documentary of the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, she had some rough things go on in her life, but you cannot tell me that she didn't know what was going on, and it doesn't excuse it either. So I'm not quite down with that because I think, you know, Margot Robbie was taking her to the premiere and saying, I've come around to her sort of side of things a little bit, and I'm like,
that's a bit much.
No,
you destroyed someone's life.
Pretty much.
The fact that I was watching one of the doco on the same thing, and she was sitting there saying, no, I didn't do it. I didn't know anything until afterwards. I had nothing to do with it. And then one of her best mates has just gone, I'd like to think that that's true, but she definitely knew everything that was going on.
She was the one that called up and got the schedule. That's kind of not. That's undisputed. Like that's kind of. Right. Anyway, I probably should just skip over this one, but the Jungle Bunch, the kids got me along to the Jungle Bunch. Fucking hell, just, no good. I don't even think it's still in the cinemas. Just the less said about that, the better. A Knight's Tale. Our mates over at Nostalgia Be Damned were covering it, and I hadn't seen it in a while, and it popped up on Stan that week. So I thought, oh fuck, this will go all right. So I checked that out. It was very good. And Zach mentioned he's been watching a bit of AFL, so he's getting right into the good sports there, mate.
Not really.
Yes, he is definitely. Knock Knock.
Oh, what?
I think it's Eli Roth. It's kind of like
Keanu Reeves.
It's terrible. He lets these two girls into his house, and then it kind of turns into this kind of home invasion. He kind of, I think Eli Roth's finally lost me. I don't think I can do it again. It's terrible.
I still haven't even bothered with Green Inferno yet.
And I feel like Keanu is just. So I can't remember which review I read, but it summed it up perfectly. It's like he's at his Nick Cageiest.
Oh yeah.
That scene where he's yelling, he's tied up in the chair and he's yelling, you fucked me.
Yeah.
You fucked me. He's going to him over and over. I'm
He's
like,
overacting like a lunatic.
I
in
know,
that.
but I'm like, how is this not a meme? Like,
How does he not laugh?
Oh, it's just.
I would be pissing myself laughing.
Yeah, I wasn't down with it at all.
No, it's
Wasn't a
not
fan.
good. And the girls, it's just like there's no motivation for what they're doing, and
No,
it's just
I know some people find
one of them's clearly unhinged, and then the other one is like kind of the brains of the operation. But why?
Yeah, I know some people think he's like a challenging filmmaker and he's touching on some of these topics, and I think sometimes yes, like something like Hostel, I could actually see the kind of that take on the ugly American tourist and all this sort of shit. This, I just couldn't see any value.
No.
So
The whole movie is basically just one thing happening to this dude, and then the end happens.
I don't know what got Keanu Reeves interested. Even if you're mates, you're kind of reading this going, oh, schedule's a bit tight. I can't get into this one. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that.
There's not much he won't make at this point though. Like he did Man of Tai Chi, and like he's obviously had a bit of a resurgence now. Like he's making some decent stuff again, but
Yeah.
he went through a little nugget there for a while where he was making some poor decisions.
He's making some nuggets, all right.
Yeah.
I watched Final Girl, which was not a great movie, but it was an interesting idea. It's the one where Abigail Breslin is like a sort of a trained assassin for this crew of teenagers that are killing girls in this like wood type setup. So this guy kind of plants her there to be the final girl in like a horror movie, but she's like a trained assassin.
She can kill some.
Yeah. Interesting idea, but it was just a bit kind of... It didn't stretch it all that far. I watched Leatherface. A little bit disappointed Adam's not here to get stuck into me for that. So it's the latest Texas Chainsaw film.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a prequel. Looks really good. Some decent acting performances. Stephen Dorff, of all people, delivers not a bad performance. But
What year was it from?
this year, it's just come out.
Stephen Dorff's still alive?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I thought he finally got punted after he did that Britney Spears film clip that
Oh,
time.
no, he's still getting around. But the whole conceit of it is that Leatherface gets taken off his family when he's a kid. Because obviously the family is very seedy and whatever. They come into this situation and they've previously... The sheriff's daughter's been killed previously and he's, clear it was them, but they get off, whatever. So as retaliation, the kid's found near a crime scene and he takes him away. And then the idea is you go into this mental hospital 10 years later or whatever it is. I can't remember exactly how many. It's a few years later. So they're all they're teenagers. And there's 3 characters basically. And you're thinking, which one is it? The whole problem with the movie is it's never really a mystery.
Yeah.
You're kind of on this track, the one...
Wasn't there a big red herring though? Because one of them's a huge, big, like, doughy dude.
Well, yes.
So I
not
heard
to
a
give
review
too
about
much
it
away, but that's basically it. It's the bait and switch.
Yeah.
They think you're going to take the kid that's the... A little bit of spoilers. They think you're going to take the big kid and just say that's Leatherface, but it's not, and you get that feeling the whole way along. But yeah, if you're a fan of the series, I don't think the series has many good movies by any stretch.
It does not.
So it's
But if you're that far deep,
my favourite
keep
problem
going.
is probably the Jessica Biel one out of all of them was probably the one I liked
the
most.
remake wasn't too bad. I watched a bit more Gotham. It's heading towards the end of season 2 now. I'm kind of enjoying it. As I said to you, they've just decided we're not a Batman show, but we're just going to use all the Batman villains and put our own spin on them. And some it works, some it doesn't. Like I've just watched the Mr. Freeze episodes. He's probably one of the weakest villains. Like they take the really strong motivations from the TV shows, the animated TV shows, and what Mr. Freeze became, but they botch it.
No, Arnie.
No quips and none of that.
It's gardening.
But yeah, it's worthwhile. I watched Popstar. Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Oh, I saw it last night. I almost watched it. Is it really bad?
It's hit and miss. Like there's some bits.
Is it
where
just
I
Andy
was in-
Samberg all over it?
Yeah, it's classic. Andy Samberg. There's some of the songs where I was in hysterics. I'm like, that's piss funny,
Yeah.
and then other songs I'm like, that's not even remotely funny.
Yeah.
There's not even a titter in there.
It's basically a Lonely Island showcase.
Yeah, basically. But then there's a couple of funny scenes, but yeah, it's very hit and miss. It's worthwhile if you like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and that sort of stuff. You'll get enough laughs out of it to
I
probably
love
justify
Brooklyn
it.
Nine-Nine. Yeah.
But yeah, could have done with some, Andre Braugher playing some straight man. Cloverfield Paradox. Mm-hmm. Shit house.
Is it?
It's shit house.
Oh, I had it on my list, man. I was pumped.
Yeah, I was really excited. Like Netflix again, just hit a bit of a home run. They just sprung it on everyone after the Super Bowl. And how you keep that secret, I don't know. I believe they paid $50 million to get the rights because word is J.J. Abrams and co. realised that it wasn't quite there. Mm-hmm. It's just boring. It's got some interesting ideas, but it's as boring as batshit.
Is Daniel Bruhl any good?
He's all right, but he's kind of off to the side. He's just a
So that's
supporting
why I wanted
character.
to watch it because I love him.
Yeah, it's got some good actors. It's got some really good actors, but yeah, it just didn't quite hit. Some interesting ideas that just didn't do it for me. So
Does it tie into the other films at all?
it does, but it's like 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's just in the universe. It's not.
Yeah.
This one kind of explains more about how things happened, but it's just really boring. It's a slog.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it is a bit of a bummer. I watched Gotham by Gaslight, which is the latest DC animated one. Really cool. They've taken the first DC Elseworlds story, so it takes Batman into the 1800s, and Batman detective Jack the Ripper works pretty well.
Yeah.
They actually changed the story from the comic book, which is cool because they took all the style of the drawings and everything, but then they actually changed the story up and bring more of the characters in, and it actually works. So I was really happy with that one. And the last one, Monkey Magic, the new Legends of Monkey, the remake. It hit ABC.
We told him even know this is a thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I do want to see it.
Yeah, I watched it. I watched the first episode as a bit of a curiosity. I actually really enjoyed it. Like it's for younger audiences, but it's kind of it takes the elements. It has some fun with the whole Tripitaka boy girl thing. It's still got Monkey with the headband. Monkey's still kind of he's sort of a Thor type. He's a bit of an oblivious oaf. He's been out of the world for 500 years or whatever. So he comes back thinking he's king shit, but he's not. And it kind of works. I like it. And the whitewashing stuff was BS. Like, it's not whitewashed. It's actually the cast is extremely diverse. Like, Tripitaka is Tongan, I think, and then Pigsy is Maori, perhaps. And then Sandy is a girl. She's the only white one there. The other guy's I think he's half Chinese or something like that. So.
That was the thing.
It's
like, if
pretty
it's
cool.
Monkey, it should be a full Chinese person. So
yeah, and I get that, I understand that, but this is the remake's being done in Australia and New Zealand. So, I mean, what do you do?
what are you complaining about?
It's not economically feasible for the ABC to do an entire cast that way, I guess. But I mean, there is
You got to cast the people that are good for the role too. That's the other thing. If you have a bunch of people read for it and someone's better, just cast them.
And I actually think it's quite diverse, and I think there's opportunities for a lot of characters of a lot of different ethnicities. But yeah, it's really enjoyable. It's definitely got that adventure sort of toned down part. A little bit of kind of the Hercules vibe to it, with some cheap special effects and stuff. But
Power Rangers, or
it's probably not quite that level.
Which Hercules are we talking about? Like the Kevin Sorbo?
Yeah. But it's kind of enjoyable. I quite like it, and that was me. So
I forgot one. You mentioned Jessica Biel. I watched Sinner as well.
Is it any good?
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's on my list as well.
Yeah, enjoyed that.
So much to get.
Again, that was Erin's one. She didn't put one in for me.
It's a weird idea. Don't tell me anything that's happening to it, but I just read the sort of basic plot synopsis and I'm like, oh, geez, wonder what's going on there. Like, it sort of drags you straight in.
It escalates quickly. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Right.
Excellent. So let's get right into it. Our man Arnie, Conan, here's the preview.
It was a time not unlike our own, when brutal danger was a part of life. It was in this time that young Conan was orphaned at the hand of Thulsa Doom. And so it became a time for vengeance. But only after his body and his will were shaped by slavery on the wheel of pain could Conan begin his search. First, he had to learn the daring of the thief, the cunning of the fugitive, the bravery of the warrior, the warmth of friendship, the passion of love. and the wisdom of one who has suffered. Only then would Conan understand that revenge is the answer to the riddle of steel. Conan the Barbarian, a film by John Milius.
Conan the Barbarian from 1982. Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan, James Earl Jones in his wig as Tulsa Doom, Max von Sydow as King Osric, and Sandal Bergman as Valeria. The director was John Milius, who directed Red Dawn. He also wrote Red Dawn, was involved in Apocalypse Now, and apparently did some uncredited work on Dirty Harry. Nice work,
Good
John.
stuff.
Other writing credits, we had Robert E. Howard, he actually created the character. John Milius and Oliver Stone, the name we've heard of.
Yeah.
Don't know how keen he was to be associated with this pile of shit, but
Very keen. I believe he was also at the height of his drug excess as well.
I think everybody was at this point.
Explains a lot about having a movie.
Produced by a bunch of people that no one's heard of, and then Dino De Laurentiis. I think Raffaella De Laurentiis, what's that, a daughter? Probably a sister, maybe?
Yeah. I think they just chucked their name on.
Also a bloke named
Movies.
Buzz Feitshans, so that's a great name. The budget was $20 million estimate. The gross in USA was $39.5 million, and the worldwide it was $69 million.
$20 million back then.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
dollars.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of money.
Wow.
So if we get a little bit of trivia, this will give us an idea about the funds for today to then. Oliver Stone apparently wrote the script. He wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to read comics and fantasy novels. See how he handled the period dialogue. Clearly not well. Stone actually set the story in the future after the downfall of civilization. It was going to be a 4-hour saga. Jesus. And
Felt like that.
had a whole host of different creatures. Would have cost the studio $70 million, which is about $173 million nowadays, adjusted for inflation.
Just a small figure.
Just a small number, so they actually punted that. Milius wound up rewriting the script and cut the budget in half, and also made it so it was more like a historical fantasy sort of movie we ended up seeing in the end there.
I believe Oliver Stone also wrote it as like part 1 of 12. Like he was saying he wanted it to be like a James Bond kind of thing where Arnie comes back every year for another Conan movie.
What
could
have
not
they
take
been?
12 of those.
That would have been incredible.
There's only 2, right? There's only this and the
there's only 2 of
Destroyer.
Arnie.
Yeah.
Although there is still rumours floating around that after the Jason Momoa remake that Arnie might come back and do another one. Conan, The Legend of Conan, or something like that.
To what end? What's he going to do now?
I don't know. I do not know.
Maybe he's
I'd
just like
to
really old
see.
him as the king. And
I'll check it out. Yeah, I'm not sure what the go is, but apparently there's still bits and pieces floating around that he might be interested in.
fucking Arnie, just build it up, mate.
There's a lot of creativity in the world.
Yeah, there's a lot of special
I can't
effects.
imagine. I can't imagine where it would be.
They can
get
bring.
like a Terminator 4 fucking setup where they just digitally recreate him with actual.
Yeah, I was going to say they can bring back dead actors, so surely they can animate Arnie. Make him look a little bit fresher.
Mate, they could have tried that during his career, giving him some animation.
Possibly, it would have been a good idea.
Matty, thoughts?
All right. Well, I guess sometimes it just felt like a really long game of Dungeons and Dragons, and sometimes it felt like Monkey Magic with an orgy in it.
Well, you're hitting on all the good notes, mate.
So I don't know. I started watching it. I enjoyed it the first 15 minutes, and I went, "How's he going to carry this on for another 2 hours?" And
The length is a big problem.
yeah, and so I sort of felt there was good moments that I'm going to laugh throughout this pod about, but in general, it was probably a 2 for me.
Two's
Maybe that's
pretty fair.
generous. Maybe that's generous.
Coxie?
Fair enough. Yeah, look, I watched this not all that long ago. I reckon it was probably about 2 years ago, and I was just watching it, going, "This is just fucking weird." Like I couldn't get into it at all. But watching it this time, I enjoyed it a lot more. I took more of the sort of action scenes and enjoyed the fights a lot more, and the battles with the swords and the choreography there is pretty damn good. The effects are pretty good. It's a straight down the line sort of revenge tale, but it was entertaining. Arnie is I mean, you could tell he's struggling a touch, that it was one of his earlier roles, but he's sort of perfect for it. Even with the acting struggles, it's just kind of like, yeah, you can see him in those battles, and it's like, yeah, you can see why he was cast. So I reckon I'll probably go a 3.
Woo!
Entertainment value was there, so...
Fair enough. I'll come right down in the middle. I'll go with a 2.5. Pretty much mostly what you guys said. I think the biggest problem is just the length. There's scenes in this that go for 8 minutes that should be 1.5 minute scenes.
Yeah.
And you could easily just get rid of so much of the fat.
Yeah.
The last scene alone, just where he's like, just slowly walking down the stairs and like, just hanging out. There's scenes here in the markets earlier on, and the camera's just following people's feet as they slowly walk through sand for like 30 seconds. I'm like, and then it changes camera angles and it's doing the same thing.
Kick a dog out of the way. Didn't need that.
The dog kick was great. No, sorry, I'll take that one.
I definitely watched it with 1.5. The benefit of 1.5 and 2 speed came in a lot during those walking and there was a lot of walking.
There's a lot of
a little bit of jogging, a little bit of running. Some horseback.
Why do they run from place to place? Who runs with a sword on their back?
They've got a lot of energy. Conan's a strong man.
Why is he in a rush to get
It's got a little bit of the so bad it's good thing going on in spots. Like there's some bits you just piss yourself laughing at, and this is fucking ridiculous. I'm not sure how serious they were trying to take it. It's kind of hard to get a read on whether it was tongue-in-cheek a lot of the time and sometimes it wasn't. I thought a lot of the effects, considering it's my age, and I mean it's a decent budget, but some of the effects still look pretty good, really. Some of them are terrible. But on the whole, I thought like if it was an hour and a half, I think I would have liked it.
Yeah,
but it's just a bit of a slog.
It was it's kind of like they took it seriously in like the fight scenes.
Yeah,
and I'm like around that. Yeah, I'm with you. Or sometimes it was hard to tell. Like the wizard who just kind of laughed at everything Arnie said. Every time Arnie delivered a line, he was like and running to his hut. I don't know what he's doing.
I do. Smoking a lot of shit in that hut. There's a little hot box on a stilt.
It's like an annoying egg shen.
I guess, if we going into the likes, I really dug the opening. I thought the opening was an excellent start.
Are we talking the sword or the massacre of the village?
The massacre of the village.
Right,
his dad's speech.
The Lion King moment.
Yeah, I've got a bit of
everything the light touches.
I've got a bit on that later on. About
Well, isn't that also James L. Jones doing Mufasa?
Yeah, same.
Very similar scene.
Yeah.
That's why
after that,
7 degrees of James L. Jones.
The setting, like after that, when what are they called? The Cult of Set or whatever. Doctor Doom's crew, when they come and raid the village.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just a good little set piece. That village looked really cool, the way they'd set it with the snow and everything, which I believe was just, fake snow again. Special effects coming in. But I really... It was quite breathtaking, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then Conan's mum, also quite breathtaking.
Jared, big fan.
I was a fan.
I enjoyed that whole bit. The dad getting torn apart by the dogs like that. It was, I was just like, this is something different at least. It's not just, I'm going to kill you in front of you. And then when the kid is like holding his mum's hand and she gets her head chopped off, and then as she's falling, he's just looking at his he's staring at his hand.
That was incredible. It was all slow-mo too. I think they toned that down. I think they'd done a really gory version of her getting a head cut off and actually showed her head on the ground stuff. But it's better.
It didn't need it.
It was,
it didn't need it. Yeah.
It focuses on him and what's going on with him, and you just get that touch of her hair in the frame falling down, and then the body falls, and you're like, yeah, we know what's going on. That's all we needed.
She didn't bend over, that's for sure.
It was kind of intense, and but it was also very light on the dialogue. Just took its time. That was one of the
pretty light on the dialogue.
Yeah, well, that was one of the few times where I was like, I wouldn't have trimmed that part.
Yeah.
That part was really good.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we get to all the walking across lots of sand.
That's why I like. That's why I said that the end of that part was like, how are they going to keep this up for 2 hours? And then they didn't. So
yeah,
no, they definitely did not.
But it's it sets up the classic revenge tale, which is straightforward, does the job.
Well, while we're on that scene, we've got to get to the elephant in the room. James L. Jones's fucking head mop. That is next level bad wig.
And it is in the likes because you laugh every time.
Oh, it's definitely the likes. Every time he comes out trying to look all intimidating, it's like, mate, look at your fucking fringe.
You know what it looks like?
Look at Christina Ricci.
It looks like it's almost, if you take out the actual dread parts of it, it's like Dave Chappelle in the Rick James wig.
Yes.
It's kind of got that flat fringe at the front. I kind of, when it was slow-mo, I was expecting him to do the kind of spirit figure. And what do the five fingers say to the face? Slap.
I sat there and I was watching it. I'm like, they're like a mulleted Kurgan. The whole. This is the worst rock band of all time.
There's no the hair metal band wigs later on, especially with old mate with his dirty mo. But obviously in the likes, because every time we see it, like, it looks like a Darkness film clip.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Also in the likes was that one of the henchmen was Sven-Ole Thorsen.
Is that? I thought it was.
Yeah. Thorgrim, whatever his name. It's Arnie's mate who's always playing a stooge or a thug in one of the movies. This is probably one of the better ones for him because, again, he doesn't say anything, and his whole like role is to stand there without his shirt off and the hammer in the giant fight scene. Because he's one of Arnie's bodybuilding mates, it's like, yeah, that works.
Yeah.
So yeah, good old Sven-Ole Thorsen again popping up in an Arnie movie.
That giant.
This might have been the first one actually that he popped up.
That giant hammer was one of my likes. How's that a weapon?
Barely moved the fucking thing.
He's taking it. Yeah, it's going to take a bit of time to connect on the point A to point B.
If he gets you, you're in big trouble, but the chances are slim.
But if he knocks
Especially because he yells about 15 minutes before he swings, he's like, "Oh fuck, it's happening!" And he starts swinging it, and by then you can just like take a walk and get out of the way.
knock down a pillar.
Yeah. I love how he's like all surprised when it falls on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going on with the simplicity of the actual like revenge story, I also kind of like the simplicity of he's made a slave and then goes to push some sort of wheel for some reason. I still don't know what the wheel's doing.
It's grinding like wheat.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, he's grinding some wheat. But
I don't know why the baddies think that's what they need slaves for. But.
I don't know, but it's like you look at it and they go, here's a shot of young Conan being put onto the wheel. Then there's like a teenage Conan, medium Conan, and then it's Arnie, and it's like, it explains the muscles.
That is not how you build that sort of muscle.
He's working everything there, mate. There's a bit of core strength, a bit of leg.
You'd have big glutes, big calves, and you'd have fucking nothing else, and your shoulders would be big.
Pretty sure that was a protein shaken out of view.
But see, what you're missing is when they go, right, that's all crushed, it's time to put some more wheat in there, and they have to stop and lift it up.
So what I actually think it was, if you have a look at the wheel, on the inside of it, it's got like a stone like mill that's spinning around.
Yeah.
I think it's more likely not wheat. It'd be more likely to be rocks. They'd be milling like out of a mine or something to
you
find.
You thought
like,
about it far too much.
It's probably for rubies. Based on the only thing that's worth money in this movie, it has to be rubies. Because everyone's like, oh, here's my treasure, and it's just red fucking candy as far as the eye can see.
Like it's so stupid, but in a way, it's just like. That's what we're in here.
Yeah, that's right.
We're neck deep in stupid. I'm down with that. I'm all good.
That's because one of my sort of likes was that they've broken him down to be like this empty
shell of a man. Yeah,
and then throw some poetry at him, give him some lessons, and all of a sudden he's
read some Japanese philosophy, mate.
Yeah, he's going to start fulfilling a prophecy of greatness. So.
Yeah, what was the
he's
point
filled to the
that?
brim again.
I get why they wanted him to go and be like a cage fighter for him to make money, and then all of a sudden they're like, we're going to train him to be a warrior. Fine, okay, he's going to be better.
Yeah.
The philosophy thing doesn't work to me. Like, what is?
Just wanted to show that he's a well-rounded person.
Yeah. It's very strange. It's very strange.
And he continues to show that for the rest of the movie.
And in saying that,
cutting people in half.
Then he turns into the weirdest rapist you've ever seen. They put that woman in the cage with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wraps her in a blanket.
Yeah.
And then just takes her anyway.
And then he's, now I'm going to rape you.
He's like, oh, I'm going to be a gentleman and cover you up. And then while these blokes are watching, I'm going to force you to have sex.
Yeah, that's right. As I said, he's an animal. He's an animal.
We have actually, we have snuck past the first great like of this movie, though. It's the first Arnieism.
The fight scene with the mask.
With the he dead set makes Arnie yell sounds for 15 minutes.
I was waiting for him to say a classic Arnie, like, what's your problem or something. I wanted him to say something.
Yeah,
it's just non-stop. It's like they had a soundbite and they just kept playing it.
The bit where the guy goes for his neck, it's literally like 20 to 30 straight seconds.
Right.
You just hear a little bit of clanging and moving around and just
when the dude bites him, yeah, hilarious.
It was extremely entertaining. The witch or what is she?
Yeah,
the demon.
Yeah,
is do you not wish to warm yourself by my fire? One of the greatest bits of innuendo you've ever heard.
Your endo.
His face doesn't change. His mood doesn't change.
No.
This is just completely normal for him as well. He just rolls.
I think he wanted to go feel the steam heat coming from her undercarriage.
It's like,
in the words of Melissa McCarthy.
When she says it, we're like, Yep, we know what's going on here. But as you said, there's no reaction. He doesn't even give like a high eyebrows on it.
He just walks in. He's like, no, this is what's happening then.
Yeah.
But hang on, so how did he get there and why?
I don't know.
He
Just-
wouldn't.
he just
He was walking.
He
He got
just
his
happened
freedom
on
and
the
then
witch's
just
hat.
happened upon it, didn't he?
Yeah.
And she happened to be straddling the door frame as he walked past and waiting for someone
in a while.
waiting for someone to light her fire.
He hadn't raped anyone in a couple of days.
Yeah.
But I love he goes in there and things start turning for the worse, and then he just goes, fuck you, and just throws her in the fire.
Yeah, that was like I just stopped laughing from the the line to you just chuck through the fire. He just like rolls over and like he's on top and then just rolls and flings into the fire.
No, I'm done with you.
I wasn't sure if she was upset or it was just the weirdest orgasm ever. She was
pretty
bouncing
messed
off
up.
the walls, starting up fires. It was a bit.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, all that really changed for her was that the eyes popped out and the voice went a bit deeper. But prior to that, she was extremely strange in the middle of the action anyway.
You obviously haven't slept with enough witches, Jared, like I have.
No, obviously.
He might have been like from It Follows. It was the
Maybe.
the young
Maybe
teenage
it was
dude.
the early version, yeah.
It's the young teenage guy, just anything to get his end wet.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd say across the whole movie, the set design and the costumes are actually pretty decent.
Yeah, they're excellent.
Like
They're
some of the
excellent.
sets are massive. You can see where a lot of the money went, and all the costume design. Like there's a lot of armour in this.
Yeah.
A lot of it's probably plastic,
Cool
but
I think they
helmets,
actually
yeah.
built Doom's tower thing. Those steps.
in the side of the mountain.
They actually built them out of wood.
No.
As far as I know, that's what it seems to suggest in that. I watched a little bit of that Conan Unchained making of and read a little bit about it, and it seems like
That's
it's
19 million
legit.
of the budget gone.
Yeah, and they spent a fair bit of money on the interior sets, like the interior of the castles and the snake pit and stuff like that. But yeah, I believe they built the outside steps out of wood.
Well, yeah, because like some of the effects they're a little bit patchy here and there, but overall, I just thought the rest of it was really impressive because everyone's got their own. Like it's not like they just churned out a bunch of helmets that all look the same.
No,
all the
they're
swords and weapons are different. All the armor's different.
Yep.
No, it was pretty cool, pretty impressive.
Yes, very much so. Same sort of thing, really. The Doom's Fortress in general, like the scale of the stairs, the guards looked really cool. Those kind of faceless guards, as you said, the costumes and everything. It all worked really well, and I actually thought the special effects for the time were excellent.
Snakes
That
are unbelievable.
snake,
35 years ago.
yeah, that big snake. I was looking for,
It's only when it
parts
rears
where
up
you like-
behind him and it does the last bit where he sticks the knife up underneath its mouth.
Yeah.
You can see the wrinkles on the top of its head.
Yep.
Other than that,
Prior
it's
to that,
pretty flawless.
even when it's like sitting still, you're like, it looks all right. There's not much going on. But then when it starts moving, you're like, that's more than passable. That's actually really, really good effects work.
yeah.
But yeah, they did it all the way through. All in the fight scenes when blood just starts pissing out of random dudes that get cut on the chest or whatever.
Yeah.
All they're doing is facing away from camera, but then they kind of turn and there's blood spurt.
Yeah, they've got like a little squirt bottle of sauce and they're just like
Yeah, they
squirting it out, but it works.
They were quite effective with their special effects.
That's the one thing I noticed too in that first fight scene. I'm thinking, geez, it's not very gory, like the one in the village, until his dad gets mangled. Like everyone's kind of getting hit with axes and nothing's really happening.
Yeah,
And then later on, it gets very, very bloody.
it gets messy. Yeah. Going on with the effects one now, I'm sure someone is going to disagree with this because I looked at it and I was kind of like, it kind of looks shit, but I do like the style of it. Was when the gods try to take him.
Yeah.
How they used that. I don't know exactly what the technique is, but I think it's basically just animating on the film cells. So they had those red demony things that just looked like drawings.
Yeah.
But the style was really good. They were really smart with it. How they made the background was basically just black, and they just had the two actors throwing their arms around.
That's
and
what
they
I
just
couldn't get
animated the
past
things
when I was
hitting
watching
them.
that. I'm like, how does she act that? Because it's not like she had a little tennis ball on a stick,
No.
to act against.
It's like she's just flailing, and they've said
They've
just do it
drawn around
here, and we'll draw around it.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. They've just like filmed the flailing and then they've put the little demons where they were flailing.
Yeah, but I thought, again, smart use of what you can do with the money at the time.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't try to overextend themselves.
It looked a little bit patchy, but considering how old, like I've seen so many things way worse since.
Oh,
like
man.
a lot worse.
It's far more effective than a shitty computer effect that's just put front and centre. So I was just like, I actually like the style of it. It's obviously dated, but bathing it in the red light and all that sort of stuff looked really cool.
What other effects did they? Just trying to think which other ones that show. Like the snake was good. those little demon things. It's not really. The other one is the James Earl Jones transformation into the snake.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it at the start. I think they must have been just throwing some prosthetics on his face here and there.
Yeah.
But I was like, is that something happening to his face?
Yeah,
and I bet he's
head.
transformed. It actually looked pretty decent.
So I think at one point it was a prosthetic head and they were just stretching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, smart use of, editing to cut away and then come back and he's already the snake.
It just reminded me of the Thriller film clip.
Yeah.
Which is also effective for its time.
I don't know why they bothered to do it. Like, I don't understand the purpose of him turning into a snake and slithering.
I guess it just tells you how magic he is, maybe.
Yeah, they had to do it somewhere. I guess it's a surprise. Yeah, you're right.
The one thing I wasn't a fan of in terms of the snake special effects was using them as arrows.
Yeah.
And he just stretches them and shoots at people. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, that was weird. It was like,
slithering around.
if you are a snake, would you be doing that to the other snakes? They're like, come on, man. Ease up. You know what it feels like. It's yeah.
How's he do it? Bit of Viagra.
We alluded to this earlier on too, but the camel punch, it's iconic.
Oh, absolutely.
So good.
He's laughing at the llama, and then he turns around and the camel's just like snuck up on him, even though it was already there, and he just fucking hits it with a right hook, and down it goes.
And the 10 seconds before that, where he's trying to act kind of pissed.
Yeah.
Equally as entertaining.
Because he just looks at things and goes, ah.
Yeah, he's doing that laugh.
That whole trip in the market's pretty good. When he's walking past the prostitutes or whatever they are.
You're sluts.
They're all sluts. He hasn't spoken for ages, and that's what he pops out.
It's one of the few things that he gets out totally clearly too. You're like, I definitely know what he said that time.
He said that before.
And it wasn't very nice of him. Yeah, it was that's just classic, and especially that he's done that in other movies now. Like now that I've seen Jingle All the Way and watched him uppercut a reindeer as well, like it's a strange thing to have done in multiple movies. Knocking out animals,
punching animals.
I don't think Peter's a big fan of him.
It looks like in this one he might have just been given carte blanche to actually hit the fucking thing.
I think he definitely punched the camel.
I think he definitely did.
Because then it cuts away and it shows like the camel sort of staggering and falling. But I think he punched a real camel. Maybe what they did. Maybe they did it in slow motion. He sort of did like the punch swing and then just like pushed its head away.
He gets jelly. The camel gets jelly legs.
The camel gets jelly
legs. It wobbled. It definitely wobbled. That was weird, but one of the iconic scenes for sure. The battle in the rocks is excellent.
Yeah.
It's just, it goes for about 10, 15, doesn't it?
It's good for staging too, though, because you can it's a good reason to have the different fights segregated. Like, it's not just one big melee in the middle.
Yep, and I also liked how they showed him setting up the traps, but by the time he got to using them, they didn't give you the full picture.
Yeah.
So when you saw the helmet, you're like, he's tricking him and he's going to pop out behind. But that was actually his trap, and I was like, fuck, I didn't even see that coming. Like, it was all fairly well done. All the fight, the choreography of the fights, the knocking people off horses, all that sort of shit. It was all super entertaining as an action movie.
It's very Predator when he's carving like the spring-loaded traps and stuff like that. And then he's got the bit where he's got it like on his shoulders. He's like pushing it back.
Yep.
And it's like, that's just like when he's bending the bow in Predator.
Yeah, that's right.
No one on earth bends a bow over their shoulders. Like, just not how you do it. But they just did it to get his cannons out, and he does it the same in this one. I was just like, because you get the same thing in with Sly in the first Rambo as well.
Yeah.
Setting up all these little forest traps.
That's it.
Good thing you read all that poetry. Set it up.
Yeah. The art of war and all that stuff.
Such a worldly character.
He's clearly gained a lot of enlightenment out of it.
Exactly. I'll read a nice poem, punch a camel.
I'll go fuck a witch, punch a camel, and then... So can anyone explain to me the relationship with him and Valeria? Like, they go from just like staring into each other's eyes inexplicably like they're soulmates when they first meet.
That's
they do like a boning montage, and then afterwards she's like, "I'd follow you I'd come back from the dead or something."
You're my girlfriend now.
Where's this come from?
That's actually my dislikes. I've got a couple of things.
Well, what other likes we got?
I've only got one more like, and it was the cutting Doom's head off at the end.
How he doesn't just slice it off; he has to hack it a few times.
He fucking hacks the thing off.
So good.
It's like he's got the bloody lamb leg out. He's hacking away at it. It's just it didn't. I thought Doom was going to provide more of a challenge.
He just stands there.
It's kind of like he took all his crew out, and then I'm like, this guy can turn into a giant snake. Surely he's got something in his bag of tricks. No, but it's super satisfying regardless. The way he cuts it off, drops it down the stairs, and all the followers just start like fuck this guy.
It's like a
Cult over. Cult over.
Because I was wondering, because in the first scene when he's with his mum, like she's got the sword, like she's going to defend herself, and then it looks like he like Cobra mind tricks her into calming down and then cuts her head off.
Yeah,
I was wondering whether he had all of his followers under a bit of a mind control thing going on.
It seemed like that was,
like
and that goes in with the snake.
Spell.
That goes in with the snake thing too,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the snake hypnosis, blah blah blah, that sort of stuff. So
like Calf in the Jungle.
that's what it seemed. It seemed like he was standing there, and then he was saying "my son" and all this sort of stuff, and that was his. That was
Had a
probably
bit of
his,
Star Wars
because
about
Arnie
it,
sort of
didn't
does the look up and blink himself awake, and then just fucking starts hatching.
a classic bit of exquisite acting.
Yeah.
Right?
Arnie's like, I need to look down, then look up. Then I look clear in mind, I'll kill him.
But yeah, it was just definitely a satisfying finish.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it had been another 10-minute fight, I'd have just been like, fuck, I want this movie to finish. It's a long movie.
The 2 hours is a slog.
I did it in 2 sittings for sure. The I liked the on the Tree of Woe when the vultures come
crucify
up.
him.
Yeah, but the
that's
vultures come after him, and he's like, "No, I'm not dead yet." And starts biting into its neck. That was
Pretty good puppets.
That
too,
was
those vultures.
that was a I think that was animatronic. Mate.
Yeah.
I think that was they had built it into the tree so that you couldn't see the puppetry and the animatronics. But the
I
other
was
ones
looking
were
at
real
it, it
birds.
cool.
Yeah.
The other ones
pretty
on the wings were real birds that were tied to the tree. You're not going.
that's
you're
all
not going anywhere. Yeah, Peter was definitely not in on this.
So
for sure.
with that bit, he's tied to the tree. Oh, he sees old mate running across, and he's like, "Ah, ha, ha, this is great. I'm out of it." And then old mate gets him off the tree, and he's dead.
yeah, he's fairly.
I get that he's weak.
It's an
but he's laughing
energetic
pretty-
laugh for a bloke that's just about to cut.
Is it his last gasp? Is he like, you know what I need to do? Just
Unless
get this laugh out, and I'm toast.
Unless that's Arnie's death rattle, like it's indistinguishable from his laugh. But the laugh again. That should be. I want somebody to do like a supercut on YouTube of Arnie's ha ha ha's in this movie, because every time he has to do it, it's overdone, and you can see John Milius behind the camera just like, oh shit.
That was better than the last one. Keep it. Fuck.
If they can sneak his eyes when he's peering over and watching the orgy though into the middle of it.
Yeah, like that's the laugh is overlaid on that.
He is just fascinated with what's going on.
He's in his element. And that's where he's thinking, maybe I should join up with Doom. You know? This looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty tempting. You could change your mind at that point, I guess. But he had a girlfriend, I guess. He had to do it for her.
True. Any other likes there?
No, I've covered mine.
I sort of liked James Earl Jones, like the whole idea of the cult of I found that people are more powerful and stop chasing steel or whatever.
Yeah, that was cool. And
But,
he gets the woman to just jump off the fucking...
Come to me, my child.
And it's he goes, the flesh is more powerful, and obviously her flesh just gets crumpled and fucked up. And then he's like, there's so much more there that
It goes to nothing though, because he just treats everybody like shit. You just don't know. I guess they could have given that a bit more legs. That he's actually he seems a little bit reformed, and then no, he's not. He's
because he says something about like, oh yeah, I murdered all your family when I was young, and I was crazy chasing the steel and stuff like that. And you sort of think, oh, hang on, is he more like benevolent now? And he's like trying to. Nah,
but he's just a fucking
prick. Germ. Yeah.
jump off, naked lady.
Yeah. James Earl Jones is actually a like as well. He was very good casting. I've got dislikes attached to Thulsa Doom, and quite a few of them, but him as an actor was like necessary, because you had to have. They obviously minimised Arnie's dialogue in particular. Yeah. And then, so other people just had to talk through scenes.
A monologue,
It happened a whole bunch of times with Sandow Bergman. She had just had to talk to Arnie. With him just going, and not reacting other than to nod and things like that.
The profession of love scene is the perfect one of those. She's just going on for ages. And she's basically saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. And he's just like staring at her. Yeah. Cool, bro.
So I think, same deal with Max von Sydow. He was basically hired just to talk for, a couple of scenes there. So they were definitely likes as well. All right, dislikes. There's going to be quite a few for a movie that I gave 3 stars.
Righto, off you go then.
Splitting hairs, but could we possibly have got an Austrian to play Conan's dad?
What, you didn't like the accent?
You go from like a Shakespearean actor to.
It's because he was never spoken to the whole time he was grinding up in the mines. Okay?
I looked at that. But
he lost his language.
He looks about 8 to 10 when he's.
It's pretty well formed by then.
it's like the apple fucking fell off the tree and
rolled down the hill
onto a boat or something. Like, I don't
got run over
know.
by a car.
It's just, it's distracting, especially because, his dad gives a big monologue in like a massively Shakespearean sort of tone.
Yeah. I thought it would be like Hercules and they dub over his voice, but
I didn't. In the end, I didn't. It's a very minor thing, but I thought surely you could have got an Austrian bloke that could have got the lines clear enough and delivered them in that way to kind of
just explain it a little bit, or even if any of his captors, even that the dude with the red beard, with it, like the one that captures him, like he's sort of his like caretaker sort of thing.
Yeah.
Even if he had the accent, you'd better explain something because he's the only one he sort of interacts with.
Nah, that's okay. Don't worry about that. It'll just be explained away.
To be honest, that's been done in a lot of Arnie's movies.
He ground a mill for a long time.
Yeah. What about Commando, where he's a fucking like a US Special Forces guy?
Yeah, that's true.
His name's John Matrix, and he cannot speak English at all. Bit strange.
A little bit strange.
So I'm with you on that one. We kind of referenced it a little bit in the likes, but the training montage with the grinding wheel. That's not how you build that physique, especially not on the fucking slave's diet that he's on.
You're telling me
he's not protein fucking loading to get that sort of bulk.
By
the time they might have him on a tip-top diet because that starts off with 100 people on that wheel and it ends up with just him.
Just going
and
like, walking the
how
ground.
How about you have 15 people's food and then
a couple of chickens?
I don't think he'd have quite that well-rounded of a bulk up.
So you're telling me like He-Man legs and like G.I. Joe arms, sort of, if he's doing that sort of stuff?
Maybe, yeah. You just don't look like that. It's not functional bulk.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody looks like that.
For a reason.
Only Arnie looks like that. So I'm like, okay. They cut out a lot of stuff. Maybe he could have been grinding a different type of mill.
Yeah, if they had bits where he was like on the sledgy, smashing up rocks, and then lifting rocks, that sort of stuff.
It might have been better suited.
Curling rocks,
crunching rocks. I don't know.
Turkish get
It was just a tough sell. It's like all you see is his legs walking in a circle, and all of a sudden
Russian split squats with rock.
It would have been another opportunity for him to yell a bit.
incline flies with rock, lat pull downs with rocks.
Oh sure, yeah. It would have explained things a bit more.
Neck lifts, strong neck.
Yeah.
Arnie's acting, I'm sure this came up in the likes as well, but it's at its all-time Arniest, I guess.
Did you have acting in inverted commas? Because I did.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like they, and I know that they picked him out of Pumping Iron and said, we got to put this dude in a movie, and then somebody was like, how about Conan? It was like, natural match. And they didn't really think too much about that. And they got around it for the most part. But, man, when he has to do the talking and the laughing and all that sort of stuff, it's really... Yeah, it's pretty bad.
He says the words that he has to say, but that's the extent of it.
Yeah, that's right. He does not know how to emote at this point.
Nah. Did he ever?
He definitely got a lot better.
Gets better.
Oh, he gets better.
He got a lot better as his career went on.
He's still not an
Maggie's
actor.
pretty good.
Oh, actually, Maggie, he does do some of that stuff. Other than that, though, it's a stretch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You've already mentioned it, but when he's got the lady and wraps her up like a gentleman, and then very ungentlemanly unwraps her and gets on top of her in front of an audience
and starts grinning though. He's like,
tricked you.
Thought I was a nice guy.
It's just one of those things now. Every time I watch an 80s movie, I'm just like, okay, where's the seedy shit going to happen? Because it's just like guaranteed. Between like 70s to mid 80s, like it's Rocky doing the "I'm gonna kiss you now," like it's Arnie doing this.
That's the rapiest non-rape scene ever. That one.
There is some super seedy shit in there, and it happens like. You kind of mentioned it, the way he's looking around the orgy and with the witch as well. Some of that is just kind of...
it's a bit of cringe.
Yeah, there's a lot of cringe going on with that sort of stuff.
Anytime Arnie or Sylvester Stallone had to do a sex scene, it always felt super cringy to me.
Yeah.
Sly going in to kiss anybody with that fucking mouth of his.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like,
it seems like
Sharon Stone's like, oh, thanks for the casting director on this one, guys.
Yeah, when Sly's doing that, even when it's consensual, it seems like assault because that's the kind of, that's the way that he's going.
Yeah.
Best acting that he does is when he's raping someone. So
in these this time period, and especially this kind of, the sword and sorcery where he's a barbarian.
Take what you
blah,
want,
blah,
yeah.
Super seedy, very seedy. It's uncomfortable to watch.
I'm so glad he's not in the room.
I know. He'd grab my head and just squeeze it like a grape. That'd be the end of it. Yeah.
Is it just me, or did you guys notice a lot of the time the score? I think they just made a generic score and then played it regardless of what was happening. There's fight scenes, and then there's lovemaking scenes, and then there's just like travelling scenes, and they've all got the same music playing over them.
Well, there's swords in all of them, so you know.
There'll be like a fight scene though, or like anything really, and it's this really cheerful, like a little bit playful sort of music. I'm like, this does not fit.
Doesn't fit.
They must have just had one score and just like.
I did notice that, you know,
use it everywhere.
Yeah, I did notice that although the music was pretty solid, it popped up in.
It's not relevant though.
Yeah, it popped up in a lot of places and sounded the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did kind of notice that.
The main one I noticed is at the end where after they've killed the big snake, and the girl's sort of walking out onto that platform and she's about to sacrifice herself. Meanwhile, does it? The snake's dead. Doesn't even look down. She just like drops herself in there.
Yeah.
You could have just gone, oh, the snake's dead, guys. I'm off the hook.
When they show that too, you're like, how the fuck did she not see him the whole time?
Yeah.
It's pretty clear the snake's like in view, so Arnie cutting its head off is in plain view as well.
Yeah. But that music that's playing over that is this really like sort of playful, like it's obviously orchestral, but it just doesn't fit the scene at all.
Did Arnie give a ha 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 when he was running away?
Of course he does.
Maybe it was kind of like that's the.
Because you see the chick sort of gives him a distraction, and then the two boys are going up the rope, and you see he's like ha ha as he's like going up the rope, he's like giggling at everyone.
That was sort of one of my dislikes. Was every single plan is so unplanned.
Yeah.
And you're not sure why they're doing it.
When he gets the priest's robes and he's just like infiltrating for that thing, and he shows old mate the medallion, and I'm like, that's clearly dobbing you in, mate. You've just dobbed yourself in.
The priest robe was the dumbest plan you could possibly, especially because they are giving out robes.
Yeah.
You just go and grab, fucking wrestle one off the other peanut. That's not gonna, you're not gonna look suspicious. And the other thing too is, again, Arnie's classic bit of acting work. He walks in when he first gets there, and he's doing the nod and smile to everybody. He's like.
It reminded me of fucking Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3 when he's walking along doing the finger guns at everybody on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. He's like, hi. He's like waving and nodding and grinning at everyone's like, no one else is doing that. They're all like really solemn and stuff.
But yeah, the medallion was strange because
he stole it from where the snake was.
Yeah, and he gives it to the guard, and the guard's immediately like, hang on a minute.
Yeah. And then he's like, yeah, sweet. And he keeps walking up the stairs.
You're not going to argue with him, I guess. That was one of my other dislikes. Is every single henchman, like either there's not enough of them or they're a complete idiot. There's I don't know, the security. If you know that there's a barbarian on the loose that's pretty much dismantled one of your previous temples.
You want to talk about the security? Almost like, we're with this impenetrable fortress. Oh, but if you go around the back, there's just some caves. You just go in.
Through the whole
and they just get all the way in there with this random chick just sort of dawdling along.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous at the end.
Hey, look at distraction. Look, we got through.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned it before, the chick, Valeria, falling for Conan just by like immediately.
Yeah.
In a sense, I appreciated that it didn't get bogged down in a love story because it wasn't that sort of movie. But in a way, it's like even more shallow for her to look at him and just go, I'm in love, and then jump in the sack. The night, like, it's like an hour after they finished the bloody fight with the big snake, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then she's fighting with another big snake almost immediately.
I've never slept with someone that soon after I've met them.
No, I'm not necessarily that part, but she goes straight to professing love.
Yeah, she does. She's like, my soul is yours sort of love.
Yeah.
Not just like creepy.
It's not like jumping in the sack. I mean, Arnie's obviously just said we're doing this, as he has previously. Maybe she was in the audience for his first round and thought, I wouldn't mind to go.
I'll ride that stallion.
So she's gone in there and like, okay, not so much of that, but then immediately, job's done, roll over and... Yeah.
And then he disappears.
You're the thing I've been looking for.
And he's gone straight away.
Yeah.
He's like, that was nice, but I'm out of here. I've got to do this by myself.
Yeah, I was split down the middle because I'm like, they knew what was going on. They didn't get bogged down with that. They just kept on with the revenge thing, him getting to Thulsa Doom. But then the kicker to it is like, I felt like, why do we need her to die then? Because he's already got the motivation to go and cut his head off.
Yeah.
So I was sort of a little bit confused as to why that needed to be added in there.
Because then he could fall in love with the other princess at the end. That's the only reason.
True.
Which is a dumb reason.
That was dumb.
Because she is shit. She is.
She is. She does nothing.
She's clearly under mind control, but then she just doesn't do anything at the end. She's just sort of dawdling around
Yeah.
like a fucking idiot. Like after old mate tries to shoot her with the arrow, it's kind of like she snaps out of it at that point, but man, she's not much of an actress either. Did that Sandal Bergman, did she do anything else?
She was a dancer. Which, makes sense when they do, you see the scenes in that cave where she jumps off the wall and does the
she
spin
can
and
move
that sort of
really
stuff. They pretty much cast her and Arnie on the abilities and the physique and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get stunt doubles for either of them. They were both so unique in the way that they looked and moved and everything that we couldn't get a stunt double. Arnie, obviously, they said when Arnie's strutting around with a shirt off for most of the movie, getting a stunt double is like near impossible.
Yeah.
They both did a lot of their own stunts. Yeah, that's what I know about her.
Jackie Channing it up.
Yeah, I think she did a whole bunch of schlocky B action movies after this, but this one she was cast on the dancing abilities.
I felt like during some of those fight scenes I was back in Highlander.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that.
The choreography.
There were more sparks coming off the swords.
Yeah, that's right.
Would have been better if there was a building falling down and they ended up on the
In
top
the background, we
of
need
the
some more explosions.
Or if Queen was on the soundtrack.
Yeah, that would have definitely been better.
I would have gone up 2 stars for me.
Yeah.
So we've definitely mentioned this too, but James Earl Jones looks fucking ridiculous throughout
the least intimidating
movie.
fucking demigod of all time.
The wig is bad, but then the outfits...
blue eyes.
The eyes look kind of silly. The outfits are just outlandish, even by the standards of wherever they are. But he just looks ridiculous.
And he looks like an old man, even though it's 30 years ago.
He does. And I think I mentioned to you blokes previously, he got a few tips off Arnie about working out, and as you said, it didn't really work.
No one won that deal.
No, it didn't. I wasn't a big fan. I was a fan of him. He had the gravitas and the delivery of the lines, and as we said, when you get in a scene with Arnie in this, you've got to do the work. So he did the work, and he was worth the dosh. But whoever did up his designs,
it's tabs.
Needs a kick in the backside.
While we're talking about armour, too, I mentioned the good variety across the movie, but for whatever reason, they decided to give Conan a lot of variety. Like he'll be on a one journey, and from scene to scene will be wearing different heavy armour. It's like he hasn't got it packed in his backpack. Like
no,
a bloke that big, he'd have one set of heavy armour, and then he'd just have like his leather jerkins and stuff like that. Like that'd be it. And he's changed. He's put his helmet on. He's taken his helmet off. Like you're just riding a horse, mate. Like
well, he'd have to though, because he's running from place to place. So he'd just pick up whatever armour he could find wherever he was.
There's one bit where he's just doing this long horse ride
because he might get sunburnt in the hot desert sun there. So
I don't know, it just seems a bit silly. Like you wouldn't be wearing your heavy armour on the horse for a start.
No, it does change quite a bit, and it doesn't even seem like you don't even see him like when he gets his riches from pinching that thing.
The gem, yeah.
Do they actually show him in different gear after that?
Yeah.
I was going to say
they go and try on. They're trying all the helmets and shit.
That's right. That's the only place where it does actually kind of explain it.
Yeah. But he still hasn't got it packed in somewhere like up his horse's ass.
Yeah, doesn't he go like he changes from when he's with the wizard to where he's in the rocks and stuff? There's outfit changes there.
100%. Yeah. It's unexplainable.
A bit odd.
Anyway, that's all I had for dislikes. Everything else is perfect.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, no. Sorry, I did mention it earlier too, but the weird walking scenes, like we mentioned, where the dog kick and stuff. there's bits. They're just people's feet shuffling through sand. It's very strange. There's a couple of different examples, but that one's the longest and the most obvious. It's just like, why are we watching these feet? This isn't telling us anything.
No.
There's even just like the horse riding scenes where he's just riding a horse for what feels like 2 minutes. You don't need to show that.
No. A quick montage, 20 seconds.
The horse didn't want you to show it. He's like, fucking get him off me.
He's cracking in half. I had one more dislike. Why is there a leopard at the orgy? Like, if I'm having an orgy, which I'm not, I'm never gonna get that many women interested enough to have them in the same room. But
you're hanging around the wrong women, Joe.
if there's one thing, if I'm strutting around with my old fella out, I want zero chance that a leopard might mistake that for a cocktail frank.
He was chained up.
He's not going to mistake it for a Kransky or a Cabanossi. But anyway.
I think they'll go on the Michael Jackson route. They just wanted to make it like, if we've got a big cat, it's more exotic.
Yeah,
That's all it was for, but it was a bit strange. It's like all these, like, it's just oiled up tits and ass, and then there's just,
a large man turning into a
okay.
snake, and then a leopard.
Yeah,
I think it was a real leopard doped up too.
it was definitely a leopard.
Peter. Again, they're gonna. They must have had some. Peter was created after this movie. Someone watched this movie and said, "These animals are being
Just
treated
punched
like
a
shit."
fucking camel.
Yeah, he should have definitely punched the cheetah.
Someone stabbed a snake. Then one bloke stretched him and made him arrows. Not good enough.
Not good enough. Anything else?
No, that's it for me.
I wish that there was less narration. The narration.
Yeah, my lord.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty heavy-handed.
You could have sped just the narration up to 1.5, and it would have been a 1.5 hour film. But overall, it was a good experience, I guess. I'm glad I've seen it.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty cool. The narration seemed to be in and out too. Like you'd have it, and then you wouldn't have it again for like a.
There's like 3 different
40
chunks of it at the
minutes or
start, and then there's nothing in the middle, and then it's on again. And yeah,
If that went for 4 hours, though, I'd kill myself.
oh fuck! Imagine the 4-hour epic version. Oh my god,
Wow. So that's it, is it? We've covered everything.
that's it.
It was good to be back in Arnie territory.
It always is, mate.
Yeah. We had a little bit of feedback this week. We had, obviously, Bradley got in touch and said, good tip from you on The Good Place. So I've lined that up too now. That's on my watch list. I'm going to have to get on that sooner or
It's
later.
not awesome. It's just something. It's very different to what.
Sounds like an interesting concept.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's exactly what it is.
Our mate Jamie also got in touch with us after the Turbo Kid episode and put us onto another one called Blood Car. That sounds
Blood Car?
It sounds right up our alley.
I'm in.
I think
Police
it's-
cups.
I think it's a fairly cheap one that did the festival circuit in the States, and he said he caught it and said it was there was plenty of laughs to be had. So
good.
might be something worth looking at. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping. Look, I'm going to put myself out here and say I took great glee in telling Adam when he was heading off on his journey that everything was in good hands and that the podcast was going to scale new heights.
You didn't believe that.
I might have fooled myself a little bit. But
And then your plan fell apart and you got me along.
yeah, well, basically, we've all had a bit of a shocker somewhere along the line, so I'll just run through some of the errors that we made in the Turbo Kid episode especially. Gibbo, you advised us that Laurence LeBoeuf was French. Everything I can see tells me that she's Canadian.
Yeah,
and she
French-Canadian.
French-Canadian.
Yeah, she was born in Quebec, which explains the French film, but we went at length about how good her accent was, so looked like absolute dickheads. So we talked about
Because I went back after that and looked, I'm like, oh, I might have been off base there.
Maddie.
Because the only movie that I found her in, she was speaking French in the clip, and that's where I got it from.
Yeah,
it must have been a one-off.
I think fluent French speaker and done French language stuff, but Canadian.
Yep.
You're married to a Canadian too, so you should.
She does not speak French. Trust me.
Maddie, so you, when we were discussing Battle Angel, you referred to the great Robert Rodriguez as Sergio Rodriguez, former NBA point guard, Spanish
NBA
chocolate.
superstar.
Spanish chocolate. Got it right.
Sergio Rodriguez. Haven't heard that name for a while.
Same thing, good beard.
And
He's hanging out somewhere with Rudy Fernandez.
I was able to cover mine up with a quick re-record. Well, it was necessary because I forgot the fucking email address.
You sure
I don't
did.
even know our own email address, which I absolutely butchered.
The good news is I chimed in and gave you another version of the wrong email address.
Exactly. You corrected me, and it was the wrong email address. So, basically, I had to re-record the last minute of the podcast by myself. So, basically, Adam, just, take another holiday, mate.
Yeah.
We got everything.
Everything's
covered.
fine.
Everything's fine. Anyway, so thanks for the feedback from those that got in touch with us. You can do that at Podomatic. You can do it on the Facebook page, Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or at the email address, which I believe the correct email address is thrillme@iinet.net.au.
Nailed it.
We'll be back next week with Maddie. You dropped this one on us, but it's one I've been wanting to watch for a while. We'll be doing 1976's Carrie next episode.
Sorry for taking a Stephen King away from you, Adam.
I'm always happy to do a Stephen King. Adam will be a little bit disappointed that he missed it, but as I said, it's the pros here. We're going to cover it. We don't need his.
Once he watches it, he'll be less disappointed.
But yeah, thanks for joining us, and until next time, catch us later.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.